So to make your set of ultralight through hiking doggy booties, you will need 6 strips of KT tape. This is a foam that's kind of made for putting underneath athletic tape for people who tape ankles and stuff like that for sports. It kind of keeps the tape from sticking to your skin and offers a little bit of cushion. A pen, scissors, a piece of paper, and a puppy dog. You're going to place your puppy's feet onto your piece of paper. Little trick is if you put one foot on and then pick up the other foot, they'll generally set that first foot that you put down nice and firmly on the paper. Then you're going to take your pen and just trace around the outside of your puppy's paw. Next, you're going to take your scissors and your paper, cut out your little puppy paw. So, then you're going to take your puppy paw and your foam roll, and you are going to cut yourself 4 squares the size of your puppy paw. Once you have your 4 squares, take your puppy paw outline, put it on top of the squares, and trim the edges. You don't have to be real perfect when you're trimming the edges because the puppy paw outline that you took is going to be a little actually bigger than the bottom of your puppy's foot because the toenails and stuff like that will kind of come out around. So it's fine if you end up trimming a little bit of that too much because you'll still end up with a perfectly sized little paw print. So when you're done, you'll end up with 4 individual pieces of the foam the size of your puppy's paw. Next, you're going to take 2 of your pieces of the KT tape and you're going to cut them in half. Next, you're going to take your half a strip and one of your pads, your little foam pads. If you kind of tear this tape here to get it started, then you can peel off the paper on the back. Peel off about half of it to start out with and leave the other half still attached, like that. So you want to put the KT tape below the carpal pad. So you're going to kind of stick it to their fur right below the carpal pad. And so you're going to set that point. Then once you got that on, you want to kind of take your strip out to a bit of a stretch and see where the foam is going to lay, and then lay that onto and stick it onto your tape. Set the foam on the pad. Then before you take off this strip, kind of pull tight and wrap it up and over the toes. Then stick it. If you rub this stuff after you put it on, it'll stick and adhere better. So give it a nice little rub like that. All right. Then you're going to take one of your full pieces. Again, tear. And you're going to start this piece on top of the other piece that you set. It'll stick better to itself than it sticks to their hair. And also it's nice to have the seam on top and not on the bottom. So you're going to start it so that it goes right over where this other one's coming, and keep kind of feeding your paper out as you wrap it around. Again, it's got a stretch to it. You want to pull a little bit, but not too much. You don't want to like cut the circulation off to their toes, but you definitely can put a little bit of a stretch to it so that it's got a nice firm little seal. Again, you're staying below this carpal pad. Once you've got it all set, give it a nice little rub. Get it all stuck to itself. and you got a little booty paw. Yeah, good girl. Good girl. So I discovered this little gear hack a few years ago when we were on a backpacking trip up with a bunch of friends. And I very rarely pack boots for Emily because she's very, very smart and efficient and doesn't do a whole lot of running around on the trail. So she keeps her feet in pretty good shape. Plus they're super well conditioned from all the miles we put in every week. But on this particular trip there were a bunch of dogs along and a lot of other people, so she kind of ran around a lot more and enjoyed her time with the other dogs, and as a result of that, in and out of the water and on the rock and stuff like that, she tore her pads up pretty good. So we had a 6-mile trek out of there through a lot of rock, and I knew she was going to be a bit uncomfortable. And I always pack KT tape in my pack for myself, for a lot of previous injuries that I have, and also because it's just super handy if you have anything that you need to patch or repair. So I took out my KT tape and I made her a nice pair of boots that got us through those 6 miles with no trouble at all. And I was so shocked how well they worked, how they were better than just about any pair of boots I'd ever put on her. And it stays on in water. Although if they're in and out of water a lot during the hike, they will start to kind of like come undone as the day goes along. And the part that comes off will start to get covered with dirt, and so they will come off more quickly if they are in the water a lot. But they do stay on for just kind of normal creek crossings and things like that. So they are not a replacement for normal boots in that it would get pretty expensive, adding up how much they would cost, because KT tape is not inexpensive. But in a pinch, in an emergency, the fact that I've already got it in my pack, it works out great in those areas of the trail where I'll be trying to cut weight as much as possible, and I really don't anticipate the surface being something that'll be an issue for her. It'll be a great way to kind of have a boot option available for her, but not have to carry the dog boots. If I know I'm going to be in an area like up by Sisters where there's a ton of lava all day long, then I am going to go ahead and bring along her regular boots, which I like the Mushers boots that you can get from, I think it's dogbooties.com or something like that. Just a very basic, small, little lightweight boot tends to work the best. You also want to keep in mind that a dog's feet is also their cooling system. They sweat through their feet, and the more you keep them covered up and contained, the warmer they're going to be. So you really have to balance the protection that their feet need versus the temperatures and their ability to sweat and release that heat. So basically we only use the boots if we have to, and mostly we work on getting her feet into really tough shape. Aside from that, and our day-to-day yearly living does that pretty darn well.